Back in the day I worked as a systems consultant in Southeast Asia, based in Singapore for an American financial software company. It was great work. Kept a packed suitcase under my desk at work as by Tuesday I would be off to a client somewhere by plane by Tuesday midday at the latest. I tried to be proactive and sent out code fixes to clients based on my knowledge of how they used our systems. Thus they would not need to apply fixes for code that they never executed. One of my good clients in Bangkok, an American oil company, I sent a fixer with instructions and told them they need to apply it as they are impacted by the bug it fixed. No reply. Didn't expect 1, 2, 3 weeks later they phone up and demand I come fix their system ASAP as it has crashed. I knew exactly what had happened and thought, bugger it, I haven't been to Bangkok in a month or so and it's time for a visit, so get on the plane to Bangkok for 3-day booking to solve this major production problem. It was an easy fix, I knew. My boss was not that knowledgeable and she told me that I should be able to fix it in 3 days. Who was I, the simple lowly consultant, to correct my all-knowing boss on the matter? I didn't object. On arrival I took the smart-ass option and sat down and said, please show my your communications file from me please. Okay, got that. I ever touched it. I asked them to read the info in the file for this month. They did. I asked, see anything interesting? Oh yes. Okay, can you try to do as the instructions say please? Okay. I leave the building with some of the accounting staff to have a beautiful Thai lunch for the next 2 hours. Come back and find they have fixed the problem and now I have 2.5 days in Bangkok to party. And yep, that's what I did. It turns out the IT manager in charge of supporting the financial systems was a failed salesman who was put into the position to get him out of sales. He didn't understand anything, but he kept the files organized. I told him next time I send you something like that to show it to a programmer before you file it. I spent the next 2.5 days helping them on any other thing that they had going on. They loved it because I would help them on anything as long as you don't tell Singapore I did this. They were great people and I really enjoyed helping them and having fun at night. I supported them for 1.5 years and never bought a lunch and few dinners when I visited. A couple of years later I got to contract with them direct and that was a story in itself.
So I used to work at a large bank in the UK as a junior support analyst. In the early days I surprised my colleagues by picking up shell SQL scripting really quick and I became the go-to for creating bespoke reporting for issues that needed monitoring, usually PDFs with a list of discrepancies, that would go to executives to take into meetings. I handed in my notice for a better role elsewhere, so needed to hand over this work to someone in my team, my manager. We were a small team. The handover went well and the first thing my manager did was to make the report look nicer, better fonts and company logos as the report was being distributed to a wider audience in the company. At the same time an adjacent team, that looked after all the expensive printers, were getting looked into by the IT security team for distributing adult material at work, something my manager and I lashed about. It turns out, my manager, being lazy, just used the URL of the company logo instead of adding it into the script. The image was hosted by a conspiracy website in Berlin. I can only imagine this site was seeing a ping image download every morning at 8:35 and an admin there did a reverse IP trace, only to discover it was owned by the bank that the logo was of. This German genius replaced the image with keeping it SFW, a picture of a very beautiful woman with her legs at 10 and 2 while balancing on something large. It had been at the bottom of every report for approximately 5 weeks. Thousands of emails. It was discovered by an exec while he was holding his freshly printed report. The image was on the back page facing everyone else in the meeting, full of other execs. Pretty sure nothing came of it, and everyone involved thought it was hilarious, but he got very lucky.
I used to work for a chain of retail stores. Tech had some tech equipment in a management office. It was used for various things, and one of them was for the managers to review their company email, etc. The call starts by the manager stating that she isn't able to connect to anything. A quick light check shows normal lights on the gateway. The ISP modem wasn't showing any lights at all. We used battery backups rather than generators in some of our locations. These battery backups had certain plugs on the backups that were powered by a battery, and the rest of the outlets were essentially a surge protector. This will be important later. Continuing on, we attempted to resolve the issue by plugging the power of the ISP modem into a different outlet on the battery backup. Once plugged into this other outlet, the ISP lights started to come on. As this is happening and the ISP modem is getting on, I'm attempting to ping the router to ensure that we're able to make a connection to the location. I wait about 5 minutes and we are able to make connection to the gateway, but we're not able to connect to any other device on the network. We move our attention to the office computer. It was at this point we realized that the office computer was off. We then checked the monitor. No light on the monitor, not even a standby light. We checked the computer tower. No lights. We then move our attention to the rest of the networking equipment, network switch, in-store phone system, power system, etc. Some devices had lights, other devices no power at all. The battery backups were only designed to hold enough power to be able to safely turn off certain devices that are attached to it, e-gateway, computer, etc. It was at this point I began explaining to the manager that I believe that they are having some sort of power issue within their office location. The response I had gotten from the manager was an immediate "I know. We've been experiencing issues with our power all day within our store, and I wanted to see what we could do to get our systems online while we attempt to resolve our electrical issues." I, although infuriated, kindly explained that there's not a lot we can do in order to get their computers online and on without confirmation of proper power being provided to the devices. The manager further explained that half the location was had lights and the other half was on emergency lights. Facepalm. I'm not sure exactly how long the call lasted, but we were typically always busy, so it may have been hours that we were on the phone or just less than 30 minutes. The damage felt the same. What a waste of my life.